give me the green light, whatever. Good evening. Good evening. It's Tuesday, June 17th, 2025. The time is 5:30, and today we have Common Council Parks, Recreation, and Family Services meeting. Committee members present. We have Councilmember Johnson, Councilmember Conti, Councilmember Flynn, Councilmember Joyce Love, and Councilmember Wu Sonani as chair. Today, we're going to go over applicants who are interested in commission on monuments and parks and arts. The Common Council is seeking application for members to the Monuments Commission to oversee the inventory of monuments and public art and communicate with the public regarding those pieces of art, coordinating with the Office of the Mayor to implement those processes. We have 3 applicants today, and it's not going to be going in any order. We're going to have Jonathan Nix up, and everybody else, if you could just wait out while we interview everybody else. So, Jonathan Nix. Yeah, come to the front. You close the door. No, I don't believe so. Good evening, Jonathan, and I just want to say thank you for your interest and wanted to be part of the commission. We're going to start with 2 questions first, introduction of yourself, and the second one will be to discuss your interest and why you're joining, and then committee members will go around and ask you questions if they choose to. So the first question is just more so introduce yourself and discuss your interest in joining the commission.
I'm sorry, I'm pretty hard of hearing, and the PA system isn't the clearest.
Yes, the first question is for you to introduce yourself, and the second is to discuss your interest in joining the commission.
My interest in joining the commission?
Yes, and then introduce yourself.
I've been in love with Albany for a very long time. Didn't get around to moving here until just a couple of years ago in October of 22, and moved to nearby here at the Center Square neighborhood, and we bought a historic house. And my wife and I have always been very interested in historic preservation, and that was one of the first things that we discovered in common with one another many years ago. I'm a working artist. I have worked as a sculptor and painter, also as a graphic designer, which is pretty much how I made my living until retiring from that. I'm still working as an artist. I've always been, since I've known of the Empire Plaza and this neighborhood, I've been fascinated with both the public art and the monuments around, and it's mind-boggling. It's very impressive, and I've been wanting to. I have a past in some kinds of volunteer public service, and I would like to find a role in that capacity here in Albany.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. We're going to go with committee members. If anyone have a question, just raise your hand. We're going to start with Councilmember Conti.
Great. Thank you, Jonathan, for thank you for expressing an interest. I know the acoustics in this room are sometimes challenging.
Very challenging.
But I guess there are 2 questions I have. And some of your background looks like it's relevant to what this Monuments Commission is meant to tackle. But let me ask you 2 questions in terms of, I guess, your knowledge of current monuments that are within the city. Not that you have to have a comprehensive knowledge, but is there one particular monument that stands out that you think is particularly meaningful, or that's your favorite, or, and why?
Oh, yeah. The Joseph Henry Monument right across the street here. It's so historically...
Which one was that?
I'm sorry?
Which one was that again?
The Joseph Henry Monument
Okay.
in front of the Albany Academy.
Yep, okay.
It's when I first discovered that, just came across it I walk around the neighborhood a lot, and the plaza especially, but, and the Capitol. And when I first discovered that one, I knew nothing about him, and I was extremely impressed. It's very significant, very historic. It's monumentally significant, if you will. I would say one thing about it, which is that if I had some influence, I would work on trying to get the letters better defined. The carved letters, you can't read them except very close, and they can be dyed. They can be painted, or monument companies, gravestone companies are expert at that. So there are ways of making the lettering more visible. As far as design goes, on the other side of the Academy, the Vietnam Monument there, memorial there, is typographically is astounding. I really love that one too. So. In a more modern sense, and on the public art side, I would say the George Rickey over in the plaza is I've just never stopped being fascinated with that. So there's a lot, and the whole concourse and plaza is a major museum as far as I'm concerned.
One of the charges of the commission also is to consider new monuments, the possibility of new monuments that might be erected, make recommendations.
Richard, I'm not really, can I approach and hear your, hear your voices acoustically?
You wanna take one of the seats up here? Sure, you can take the one, right, and that microphone should work also. Either one, yeah, that's fine. And we just press the button. You'll see the green light on. So.
Hello, you hear me?
Yep, yeah. So one of the charges of the commission is also to consider and recommend new monuments, or ones that the commission might initiate, or ones that, applications from the public. If you were to think of a monument or something along those lines, considering the monuments we have now, a lot of them are very historic going back, but something that might be more current, modern representation of, in terms of our history or our current cultures or our diversity. Is there any particular type of monument or that you would recommend or see as something that would be valued that might be missing?
The first thing that comes to mind is I was very disappointed. I have an interest, and have volunteered for the Historic Albany Foundation. And in fact, I'm a candidate for a board seat there, which I'm probably going to go either or on that, on that matter, if I'm selected for either. The job of preservation, I think, needs some work, and I was very disappointed that the Henry Johnson mural on Henry Johnson Boulevard was allowed to just come down, just be torn down while we were out of town. So we weren't even around to witness that, but found out when we got back. I would like to see that replaced, if it's practical.
Thanks.
Councilmember Flynn?
I'll ask the question of the elephant in the room. Since you're dealing with inventory of monuments, what would you do with the Philip Schuyler statue that we have no idea where it's at?
Oh, boy. Good
Let me rephrase it. Do you think it should have been taken down? I mean, I know you're going to be on this commission, and I know that's one of the reasons why this commission was established.
Right, yeah, yeah.
Mr. Jonathan?
The need certainly came up with
Mr.
that.
Nix, speaking to the mic,
I'm
just bring the
sorry.
mic closer.
Yeah. What would I think is a good disposition for that? It's in storage now, right?
As far as we are
Yeah.
aware of,
Correct.
is.
I don't know. I'd have to study that. I haven't given it enough thought to really give you an opinion.
Okay, that's fair. Thank you.
And I think public opinion is an important part of it.
Let me rephrase it. Do you think it should have been taken down before public opinion?
Sorry?
Do you think it should have been taken down before public opinion? Or do you think,
I think.
me personally feels
think
that-
I have heard people express that it was pretty abrupt and maybe premature, that there hadn't been enough discussion.
all right, thank you.
But I'm pretty new to the community, and I don't know the
That's fair.
details or the ins and outs of that discussion. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. My impressive resume, definitely like that, particularly when I see that you're a graphic designer and you lived in some major cities, that definitely value
I've been
arts and
lucky,
culture.
yeah.
So definitely impressive resume and all the work that you have done.
And a good stretch in the country out in
Yeah,
Texas, too. Yeah.
My first question is more so, is there a story, particularly about Albany, that you feel like it's not being told, or you would like to see get told a little bit more?
I'm sorry, could you repeat?
Any part of Albany's history that you think should be told a little bit more, particularly, or just celebrate it a little bit more?
I've got to come up and listen to you.
Is there any individual or Albany history that you think should be told a little bit more, that you would like to see be highlighted?
I've read the Kennedy's Albany trilogy and Albany and most of his Albany books. I think the arts and literature should be celebrated here, maybe a little bit more than they are. Politics is obvious,
Yeah.
and that's very celebrated here. I think there's good representation of war memorials and public service memorials, police and fire and all that. I walk around them several times a week. So I think maybe something that celebrates the arts history in Albany might be something to consider.
That'll be all.
Okay.
No further questions? Just want to say thank you so much for your interest, and staff will follow up with you with next steps.
My pleasure.
Hey, thank you.
Can I ask you guys one?
Yes, you can.
Is the commission already in operation?
No, we're just starting. Yes, this will be the first year of the commission being put together.
I read the description of the duties of the commission, and it's a lot. So I'm wondering if there is a provision for any staff or would we be doing it?
We're definitely going to have support from staff within the council. This is something that we voted on. I think it was unanimous, and I think the council really believe in this commission, and we're going to give you the necessary resources to succeed. So there's no doubt in my mind that we will have staff that will be supporting this commission. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Okay.
Good evening and welcome. And first, I just want to say thank you for your interest and wanting to serve on this commission. We have committee members here. We're going to ask you a few questions, but just to begin, first question is to introduce yourself and discuss why you're interested in joining this commission.
Okay. Hello. Good evening. My name is Carlos Mercado. I am originally from Columbia, South Carolina. I served in the National Guard there for 4 years until I moved up here about 4 months ago, joining the National Guard up in Scotia. I work on C-130s up there as a mechanic. And a big reason I'm interested in joining this commission is because well, first off, I'm 22. I feel like I'm pretty young in life, and as I've moved around for military things, I've grown appreciation for history as appreciating important people and important places, and I thought it was really cool when I moved to one of the oldest cities in the country, the amount of history this place holds. And Yeah, so I just would like to contribute as much as I can, as much as I'm qualified for. I want to do whatever I can, and that's the biggest, I think, reason I applied for all of the positions that I saw were available, because I just want to get started and get involved in the community and see where it goes from there.
Sounds good. Thank you. Any questions from committee members? We'll start with Cal.
You mentioned is there any one thing about Albany that, from a historic perspective, that jumps out at you? Since you've been here, or since you've learned about Albany?
The first thing is the difference in architecture. So that's one of the biggest things. I think it's really cool how you preserve a lot of your older buildings. Obviously, South Carolina, we preserve a lot of our old buildings as well, but you can definitely tell the architecture and the difference between who settled where, the Dutch history, and you can kind of tell with some of the old households that you can see around, like how it's different. I thought that was really cool. Again, being such an old city, I have a large interest in how the city kind of came to be what it is now, and the people who have come out of it that have changed how it's gotten to the place it's been. I'm the kind of person who, when I go to parks and stuff, I read every sign and try to learn every little thing about. I was just at Thatcher about 2 weeks ago, first time being there. It was super cool. So I love to learn. That's really the biggest thing I'd say is I don't know everything about this area, obviously, but this is, I'd say, my speed in terms of learning.
Right. Do you know much about the Philip Schuyler?
I'm sorry?
Do you know much about the Philip Schuyler drama that occurred a few years ago?
I do not know.
Okay, then I'm not going to ask the question then.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. I'm done. Thanks.
Councilmember Conti?
Thank you. And thank you for your interest. So I have two questions. We have a lot of monuments, murals in the city. I'm wondering if you had to pick one, which one would you pick as maybe your favorite or the one you think that is the most meaningful?
So the one that interested me the most was, oh goodness, I'm gonna have to remember names. I saw it the first week I got here. The gentleman who pioneered some discoveries with electricity, whose statue is out front of
It's over in Washington Park?
Capitol building. Yes.
Yeah.
That I just thought that was really cool. That was, I'd say.
It's an interesting one. It's the one. It's in Washington Park. It's the one with on a pillar with a
Yes.
the bust. Yeah.
And it talked about him experimenting with the miles of wire and kind of
Yeah.
understanding how electricity conducts itself. I just thought that was cool. I was just like, that's,
That's really, that's kind of out of the ballpark. It's really interesting, different, because I don't, most people might not notice that, or they would
like I said,
wonder.
I was just walking around when I first moved here, saw a statue, saw a sign, had to read it. You know what I mean? So I just thought it was cool to, yeah, I thought it was cool.
So one of the charges of the commission, they can recommend
Mhm.
monuments. Monuments could be monuments, like, statues, could be murals, other things like that, that commemorate or memorialize a person or an event, things like that. Or you can get applications from the public of recommendations. But if there is one, if you were to recommend, or if you to think of one type of a monument or a memorial or a mural that you would like to see that might represent something about Albany, current, past, whatever, that's not really represented right now, maybe, what would you like to see?
Again, I'm just going off of what I've seen so far, you know what I mean? So I can't, there very well might be, but, especially with, I think someone who, did you want like specifics, like a name, or just in general kind of like?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a name.
Okay.
It could be general.
I would
Yeah.
say I haven't seen any, and I might be biased because, again, from the South, but we have a lot of Civil War people commemorated throughout, especially Columbia. I think, especially with the history of it and the North being what it is, and it obviously won and retained what we are as a country, I think that would be a very cool thing to be represented if the area has produced someone pretty significant to that cause of winning the Civil War and keeping the Union together. I think that would be pretty cool, pretty neat.
Have you seen the Sailors and Soldiers Monument?
Sorry?
Have you seen the Sailors and Soldiers Monument in Washington Park?
Is
Some
that
people don't always know what it
near-
is, but
I'm not sure if I have. I've seen the Vietnam Memorial,
yeah.
and
So it's it's at the entrance where the Henry Johnson entrance on State Street, and it's that big marble building with like a woman on the front holding laurel leaves, and then if you look around it, you'll see representations of sailors and soldiers between 1861 and 1865.
interesting. Okay.
So
I don't know if I caught that, but that is
that's one to
really
look at. It's really
Yeah.
impressive. Okay.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
I will look into that. Thank you.
No, but I kind of appreciate your interest in history.
Yeah, it's
And
just
you
it's
seem to be curious about a lot of different things and looking.
yeah. I think it's something to be whether it's people who have made a contribution
Right.
to progress us into where we are.
Yep.
I think history should be preserved to be inspiring for the future.
Right.
If somebody did something that's inspiring, we can carry that. Maybe a young person would see that and think, that's a cool thing that they did, and maybe they can carry that
Yeah.
past when I'm alive, you know what I mean?
Right.
And same thing with the community as a whole, I'm not sure of the long history of this area, but I'm sure there's been hardships that the community has had to work through that, should be commemorated if it was,
Right. Thanks. Thank you.
Councilmember Love?
Thank you. I just got a two-part question. Being though you're 22 years of age, are you still in the Air National Guards? Or
Yes. I am a full-time crew chief, so basically I do maintenance on the LC-130 aircraft up there.
how many years have you?
I'm on year 5 right now,
Year
so
5?
I'm working on it.
Okay, that's great. And I see that you're going to be attending SUNY Schenectady this
Correct.
fall. What's your major?
Music,
Music?
yes.
Okay.
I figured if I'm going to go to college for free, I might as well make it something that I wouldn't have done otherwise. Because otherwise,
There's nothing wrong with free.
right?
It's
Exactly.
free.
I like the career I have. If I gave it a good effort and I decided that music's not for me, I'd be happy to do what I do until I retire.
Anybody else? Councilman McConkey?
Yeah, so you're currently living within the city of Albany, right?
Sorry?
You're currently living in the city, here,
Yes, right, Sheridan Ave. Yep,
Yeah.
right.
and you plan to stay?
Yes, I have no,
So you like it here and everything?
yes, I do.
Yeah, and want to get involved, okay.
Yeah, and then I have a few final questions, just more so. First of all, just thank you for your service, right? Like, the National Guard and working the F-16 aircrafts, that's
yeah.
pretty impressive.
It was pretty cool. I liked it.
Gotcha. I think Councilman Conti kind of asked a question. I'm always curious, again, part of the commission is coming up with like new monuments and, to talk about some of the things just
Hmm.
that you'd like to see. I know that just being part of the Air National Guard here in the city of Albany, one of Albany's hometown hero is Henry Johnson, Sergeant Henry Johnson, who fought in World War I, and I feel like sometimes his story doesn't get told enough. So have you heard of him? And also, how would you go about making sure that stories that need to be told, how would you convince your commission members that these stories are important? Like,
So for the first part of that question, no, I have not. Was he a guardsman?
Say
Or your first question was, have I heard of the gentleman you just spoke of, Staff Sergeant?
yeah, Sergeant Henry Johnson.
I have not heard of them. Was he a guardsman, or just?
No, just a soldier, yeah. in,
Oh, okay.
World War I.
No,
Yeah, he was part of the first African-American deployment force.
I think I might have seen something about that, but
Yeah.
not off the top of my head did I just recognize that. But I'm so sorry. What was the next part of your question?
The next part of the question is more so like working as a team with people that they might not agree with you. How would you be able to convince some of your commission members that this is somebody notable of being recognized?
Well, specifically the person you just mentioned.
Just in general.
Okay. Well, first, I think it starts with listening to everybody's perspectives on it, knowing why they disagree. That's a big part of it. You can't really do much if you don't have everybody's, point of view involved. And yeah, other than my judgment and feeling like I have a good taste in that kind of thing and inspiring stories, and especially even, as you mentioned, with the military, there's a lot of people who, through every unit and every base, there's people who are recognized. So I'm used to being around that kind of environment that really cherishes that heritage. South Carolina as well had a very deep-rooted connection with Revolutionary War veterans and Civil War veterans and so on. So I think the best way I could describe it is give my case as good as I possibly could with how much of an impact the person made. I can't say. I would only recommend it be made if I think this person or event was something that should be commemorated. It's kind of a complicated question because I don't have an example of someone that I've been itching to have a say in being represented, but the best way I would convince people about it is to make sure that it's someone that made an impact for the better.
Hey, thank you so much, and staff will follow up as relates to next steps.
Okay.
But again, thank you for your interest, and thank you for your service.
Thank you guys so much.
welcome. First, I just want to thank you for your interest and wanting to be part of the Monument Commission. First question is to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself. And the second part is more so why you're interested in joining the commission.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you all for taking the time to be here and holding this interview. It's an honor to be here. I've actually never been in this room before, so it's really neat for me. My name is Jonathan Patrizio. I live in the Pine Hills neighborhood. Council member Farrell, so no worries there. And moved to Albany a couple of years ago after living in Brooklyn for a decade. My wife and I just had a baby girl last July, so she will be 11 months in a few days. And currently I am a stay-at-home dad while I look for work. I was laid off back in December. And the reason why I wanted to join this commission, I'll be honest, I applied, there's the option to kind of choose some things that interested you, just really wanted to get involved with the community in the city of Albany. And I'm thinking that I was chosen partially because of my parks and recreation experience from New York City parks. I do have an affinity for history, though. I've really enjoyed getting to learn the history of Albany, something I didn't really do growing up in Guilderland, even though I spent time in Albany, so that's been nice. And anything I could do to, you know, give back to the community and the city that my wife and I, you know, are going to settle down here and, you know, raise our kid here, so.
Thank you. Councilman McConty?
Thank you. And thank you for your interest in being a part of the commission. I have like two questions. If you were to pick one monument or memorial, you know, monument could be, you know, a statue, could be a mural, a representation of something important, currently that we, in Albany, which one would you pick as maybe your favorite, or one that you think is the most meaningful or representative of Albany in some way?
Well, for nostalgia's sake, I would have to say the Moses statue, of course, in Washington Park. Although I was heartbroken that the Henry Johnson wall had to come down, of course. Not somebody I'd really known a lot of history about, and recently delved in and, you know, war hero, World War I, just an iconic citizen of Albany.
What is it about the Moses statue that strikes you? It's not necessarily something that's particularly Albany. I mean, Moses didn't grow up here, but
No, it's just,
there's a history as to how it got there, but.
it's just, you know, growing up and meeting up with people, whether it was,
Yeah.
you know, skateboarding or things like that, it was just always like a landmark that, hey,
Yeah.
meet up at the Moses statue kind of thing, you know? So that's why I say for nostalgia.
If there was a monument or memorial or that you could create or erect or whatever, I mean, that you think is something that's missing as far as, you know, representing an individual or an event that should be memorialized, is there anything particular that maybe recent history, could be going back?
Just recently, I saw the documentary dealing with the name is Shibuya, Mississippi. Those folks that had come up here to the south
Right.
end.
Yeah.
Shibuya? Yeah. And I found that to be very fascinating. I don't, other than the Rap Road community itself, I've not come across anything. I didn't even know there was a Mississippi Day. I think something like that in that realm, you know, to give some a spotlight on that somewhere, and especially as there's now this new funding coming in and a new push for downtown and the south end to be revitalized. I think that would be something special to memorialize that.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Flynn.
Are you aware of the Philip Schuyler controversy?
I do believe I am.
No, I just want to know your views on it, whether you felt, there should have been community input taking it down. Do you think it should have been taken down? Do you think, because you're going to be dealing with inventory monuments,
Yeah.
what would you do if you came across it now? Because it is, still works at what we're going to do with it.
Sure. And let me just make sure I'm remembering correctly. It was something to do with, he was a slave owner? Is that correct, or?
Correct.
Correct, yes.
Okay. This is actually something I do feel fairly strongly about. I am not somebody that believes in getting rid of monuments. Physically, the monument itself, I believe that's something that belongs in a museum, somewhere where the history can be recognized. However, it should not be celebrated in public places.
Fair, thank you.
First of all, I just want to say thank you again for your interest, and I think you did really well with answering some of the questions, and I'm really impressed about, particularly want to talk about the Great Migration and people who migrated from Chabuda, Mississippi, all the way to Albany, so that's really good, and just the respect for public spaces when it comes to monuments, and especially when we try to push diversity and inclusion here in our city. My first question is just more so, and it hasn't have to do anything, but just more so like, what drives you, what pushes you every day?
Just as an individual,
Yeah, as an individual.
right now I found a new motivation in my daughter. Fatherhood has certainly changed my views on a lot of things, particularly with wanting to help make the world a better place for her when she gets older. As we all know, it is fairly ugly out there across the globe, not just in the United States, but that's where we can start with our local communities, build our communities up, and make, our community ties stronger is only gonna expand with each community that grows and comes together as a whole. That's something big for me. Moving from this area down to Brooklyn and coming back, that has been a big motivator to become more involved. There's a lot of things that you grow up around up here that you move away and come back to and realize that it's really got to be changed, particularly with things like Albany's incredibly segregated. It's had a long history of segregation, of course. So things like that really motivate me. I definitely believe in taking on, social issues where we can and improving those for everyone.
Hey, thank you so much for your interest, and staff will follow up with next steps.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Sorry about that. Do you have any questions for us, by any chance?
I guess I do. There is 3 positions. Which position would this be for? Is this?
So the mayor, the commission shall consist of 5 members,
It's
3 of
5,
whom
okay.
will be appointed by the mayor, so we have 2 appointments.
Okay,
Staff, you can correct me if I'm wrong? Yeah, so 3 will be appointed by the mayor, and we have to appoint 2.
okay.
So we had 2 appointments. We did appoint Deona Bowles last year, I recall. So we have 1 vacancy.
One
Okay.
vacancy, yeah.
And then this would be, how many years would that term be?
It will be a 3-year term.
It'd be a 3-year term. Okay, great.
It'll be a 3-year term, correct. And also to, Yeah, thank you so much. And again, staff will follow up or I'll follow up too, just in
Okay.
case, like, let me get to the next round. Feel free to also apply for the mayors as well too, but yeah,
Okay.
we'll keep in touch.
Great, thank you so much.
All right. Brian?
Brian, can you follow up what you just said? We,
So we're gonna adjourn the meeting, but want to go in executive session just to talk a little bit? Yeah, I'm not in a rush, I can, yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to go to executive session.
Okay,
Discuss personnel for the commission. Aye.
let's get off the camera and talk about that, because it'll be recorded. Check. Mic check. Test them. 1, 2, 3. Okay. After discussing an executive committee, we've come in favor of a candidate, and we will push that candidate to the full committee, to the full council for a vote. Is there a motion to adjourn? Oh, we move to recommend candidate discuss an executive committee with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions? Nays?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Motion passed. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second? Motion adjourned. All in favor?
Aye.